Thank you. As I'm sure you all know, today's November 10th, which means that tomorrow is actually Veterans Day, but we're going to celebrate here today. There are really three parts to today's program. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of Veterans Day, and along the way I'm going to try to differentiate Veterans Day from Memorial Day. We're going to have our first graders honor the veterans that are here today, and then at the end we'll sing America the Beautiful. As you may know, Veterans Day has its roots in World War I and used to actually be called Armistice Day. Armistice Day was observed every year on November 11th and celebrated the end of World War I, commemorating that day where we signed the armistice between the Allies and Germany, as you may have learned, at 11 a.m. on the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. That date was declared a national holiday in many Allied nations. The first official Armistice Day was actually held on the grounds of Buckingham Palace on the morning of November 11th, 1919, 1 year later. Most Allied nations changed the name of the holiday after World War II to honor all veterans of all foreign wars. The United States went with All Veterans Day, which was later simply shortened to Veterans Day. For the record, the official spelling has no apostrophe. In 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed a bill proclaiming that tomorrow, November 11th, would be Veterans Day and called upon Americans everywhere to rededicate themselves to the cause of peace. So, today we're going to celebrate those who have served in our 5 branches of service: Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard. But before we do, I am going to try to differentiate for you the difference between Veterans Day, which is obviously in November and has its roots in World War I, and Memorial Day, which is in May and has its roots in the Civil War. Veterans Day is intended to thank and honor all those who have served honorably in the military, either in war or peace, and we're honored to have some of those people with us today. In fact, Veterans Day is chiefly intended to thank living veterans for their service and recognize that their contributions to our national security are indeed appreciated. So, many people do confuse Memorial Day with Veterans Day. Memorial Day, which is observed on the last Monday in May, was originally set aside as a day for remembering and honoring military personnel who died in the service of their country, mainly those who died in battle or a result of wounds sustained in battle. So Memorial Day in May has its roots in the Civil War. Memorial Day, in fact, was actually first called Decoration Day. The first Decoration Day was held in 1868, and in fact, if you look real closely at the picture, you can see the lady decorating a Civil War grave. The date was placed at the end of May so that the flowers placed on the graves could be easily seen after the Civil War. But today is not November. Today is not May, today is in November, and we are not honoring those who have died for our country, but those who are still with us today. Today is Veterans Day. So the first grade is going to honor some living veterans, and hopefully you will find that these are very, very special people, both the first graders and the veterans.
So good morning. I want to extend a welcome to our special guests. The first graders have invited their family veterans. We have uncles and grandfathers here. They've also wanted to honor those that were not able to join us, so that we'll see their photo up on the screen and they'll still read about them. But if you are here and you see your photo, please come and stand right here beside your student, and they would like to honor you for your service to our country.
This is my Uncle Drew Moore. He served in the United States Army for 6 years. Thank you, Uncle Drew. This is my grandfather, Boyd Carpenter. He served in the United States Marine Corps for 6 years. Thank you, Granddaddy.
Hey, buddy. Thank you.
This is my Uncle Toby Williamson. He served in the United States Marine Corps for 6 years. Thank you, Uncle Toby.
This is my grandfather, Darrell E. Payne. He served in the United States Marine Corps for 5 years. Thank you, Papa.
This is my grandfather, Bill Wessinger. He served in the United States Army for 8 years. Thank you, Grandpa.
This is my grandfather, Rich Lutz. He served in the United States Army for 3 years. Thank you, Papa. This is our teacher, Haywood Giles.
He served in the United States Army for 3.5 years.
Thank you,
Mr. Giles.
If you would stand now and join the first grade in singing America the Beautiful.
Thank you, Mrs. Dixon, Mr. McLeod, and especially our first graders. And thank you, veterans. We're, again, very honored that you're here with us today. It's a special occasion for our first graders and our whole school, but we hope it's special for you as well. And if there are any veterans who are here that we didn't recognize, maybe you just came last minute, we'd love to